Hello, everybody. Spider here, the FightCard podcast, once again, being joined by Aaron Suarez. My man, how are you, bro?
Oh man, doing good. Just getting used to the new chairs, right? The new setup.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to have to get some higher ones, man, because I don't think I'll be able to get back up after this. But, bro, we are going to cover the Fury FC card, man, going down this Sunday. Of course, this is Fury FC 61 in Edinburgh, Texas. Fight card subject to change. This is the old card, I believe, from the typology, so we're just going to go with that. But I'm going to start off the card, man. Of course, Fury FC, they're on fire right now. They're popping up. They're probably having more events than the UFC, man, honestly, man. They're everywhere.
Yeah, they're probably right behind them, man, if anything. Yeah.
But yeah, bro. But starting off the card, of course, it's going to have Enrique Bas taking on Emmanuel Garcia. This is going to be a 155 prelim amateur card. Enrique, of course, making his debut with Emmanuel being 1-0, man. So we're gonna start the card. Hopefully, both guys. I'm sure they will. They're gonna leave it in the cage and set the pace, for the fights. The remainder of the card. We're gonna go up one prelims 145. We have Javier Young 1-2 taking on David de los Santos 0-1. A lot of regional. This is a regional card, but there's a lot of guys from the Valley fighting a lot of guys from Corpus. It's a great matchup, man, especially in the amateur ranks here, so it's definitely going to be exciting to see. But, I'm going to go through this so we get to the main card. Anthony Torres making his debut as an amateur against Eric Delgadillo, 0-1. This is going to be a 135, 3-minute rounds. We have Jesse Pantoja, 0-1, taking on Abner Castro, making his debut as well. So there's amateur bout, 125 prelims. Next prelim is going to be Enrique Molina, 2-1, taking on Brandon Meneses, 3-3, 145. Up one, Jack Martinez, 2-1, taking on Enrique Tapia, 125. We talked about that lighter weight class earlier, man. A lot of speed, a lot of technique. For those who are going to be out there, definitely going to be in for a show. Next prelims, we have Ricky Riacheta taking on Joshua Condero. Ricky, of course, making his debut in the amateur MMA against an 0-2 fighter, man. So, of course, a little bit of experience. Mm-hmm. We have Alexander Sanchez 0-1 taking on Angel Cortez 0-0. This is going to be the main event, I guess, for the prelim part of the card, 155, 3-minute rounds. And jumping into the main card, bro, this is going to be a pro card, of course. We're going to have Reese Forrest 1-3 taking on Joel Ballman. Now, 205, 3-5-minute rounds. What are you thinking on this one, bro?
Just with the 205 weight class and just in general, I think it's they're heavy enough to really have some power, but then they're also kind of, I think, agile enough to throw triangles and do some crazy things, man. So I think a way to start off the card. As far as the pro card, is a good choice. You got guys they got some experience. Reese Forrest, he's 1-3. So not on the best record or whatever on that. And then Joe Bauman, he's 4-2. So Bauman looks to be the favorite on it. But like I said, at 205 or anything 200 plus 200 pounds and up, you got some power there. But then you also have some guys that can move and they got some really good angles and probably have hopefully some good ground game as well. So, but I'm going to end up going with Joe Bowman.
You see, and the guys from New Mexico, man, so they're definitely bringing him in from north of Texas. Of course, this is going to be in Edinburgh. Mm-hmm. His opponent's a home guy. He's out there from the Valley. So Reese Forrest, man, 1-3, like you said. He's got 4 fights in as a pro. Experience is there. He's lost to a couple of good people, up and comers, man. So there's definitely no slouch. Being at 205, man, somebody's gonna get put to sleep, man, or get choked out, or submissions are always up there. Yeah. But yeah, man. For this one on the home advantage, man, I'm gonna give it to Reese Forrest, bro. I'm gonna go ahead and go with the local out there.
Yeah, that is a long way to come down, man.
Yeah, bro. Because I'm even if they show up weigh-ins, you still gotta stretch out and. His opponent actually looks like a pretty tall dude, man. So maybe he'll go in back of a truck so he can stretch out his legs. But yeah, man. That's gonna be the first bout on the card. Because it is the first card, the first bout, I should say. I expect a lot of action, man. I expect them to set the pace for the main card. It's gonna be on the UFC Fight Pass. So yeah, you wanna look good, man. Definitely.
Oh yeah, man. Good exposure.
Now going up, we're gonna have Isaac Moreno 2-0 taking on Retavio Stracher 0-1. Now, 170 pounds, 3 5-minute rounds. Now, Isaac Moreno, he just fought for the card out there in Dallas for Fury, man. So he wanted a quick turnaround, and he got it. The other bout, I believe, he won via unanimous decision, man. The guy, strong striker, good grappler. I know he's training partners with our local here, man, and Zach, from the Dojo Academy, man. So definitely an explosive fighter. I mean, he felt like he didn't showcase his skills on this last fight, so he wanted to return fighting. Here he is, man. So we'll see. I mean, of course, coming in with experience, man. Isaac Moreno 2-0 against an 0-1 guy. I mean, not to look past Latavio's Thrasher, man, because the guy, of course, he's out of New York, representing the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Academy. That's a long drive. I don't know if he's local now, but I was gonna say, man. I mean, we talked about the New Mexico guy, but on this one, man, just on the experience itself, man, what are you thinking?
I'm gonna always, not always, but like I said, looking at Isaac Moreno, I mean, I think it's a good fight for him, especially to have a quick turnaround, because there was a lot of guys that do a lot of quick turnarounds like this, but they typically fight somebody who's maybe a little bit tougher, maybe somebody who has the same record or better, right, when they do a quick turnaround like this. But what do you call it? With Isaac doing it, I just hope he didn't take the fight just to kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, yeah, you're disappointed in your performance on the last show, but hopefully it was a good call for him, and he's just not doing it at kind of emotional, if you will.
Right.
So, and hopefully he doesn't try to do too much, and, Ratavius doesn't, and Ratavius, is allowed to capitalize on some type of mistake that Isaac throws out there. But, going into this fight, man, yeah, I think Isaac wins this one comfortably. No,
I mean, definitely. One of the things, you just brought up a good point, man, because the weight cut, I mean, that's got to be a bitch, bro. Like, I mean, if you cut one from one bout and then you're 2 weeks out and then having to cut again, man, hopefully it doesn't, make the guy drag in his fight, man. I mean, he's athletic as hell, so, I mean, I don't see him, but I'm suffering from that, man. But yeah, I mean, I hope, like you said, he definitely made a smart choice by fighting this quick, turnaround, man. But he didn't get any injuries on his last one, so, if he's ready, then let's do it, man. Now, going up, of course, the main card once again, this is going to be Tedrick Macklin, 1-0, taking on Juan Carlos De Leon, 0-2, 155 pounds, 35-minute rounds. And, I mean, right off the bat, man, I mean, these guys, of course, I mean, they're new on the card. I mean, as far as experience, I mean, they both have amateur bouts. That's one of the things, I mean, we always talk about, man, because when these guys fight as an amateur, I mean, the amateur fights themselves are probably the hardest, I would say, because you kind of don't know what to expect. You learn from them. I mean, the fact that it's, a 1-0 guy against Juan Carlos De Leon, man, 0-2. What are you thinking, man? Are you still going with the, the more experienced fighter, or how do you see this one going?
Man, I saw the name Tedrick Macklin, man, and I mean, he's been around for a while. I mean, he fought in Belt of Honorists.
Yeah,
which was a long way around, and then his last fight was, 2019. Probably had the COVID thing, that kind of kept him out of it as well. Going against Juan De Leon, man. What was Juan's last fight, man? Let's see, what was that? That was so yeah, he's a little bit more recent, man. I don't know, man. I think kind of on the same thing that we talked about with the fighters taking a break. They've been fighting so long. And when you have a long career that kind of goes over 10, 12 years or whatever, and then you take a couple of years off, you take whatever, you're not as active. You're still training, you're still doing all these different things, but do you have the timing to get back into the cage? And,
right.
And, when guys are able to do it. I think Tedrick, hopefully I'd like to see him win, but, man, I'm going to go with the guy that's been a little bit more fresh. A little bit more fresh, man. A little bit more active, and I'm gonna go ahead and pull for Juan Carlos, man.
Yeah, you see that's a good thing that you brought up, man. Because of course, I mean, like we said, the timing. I mean, as you get older, or even not even older, if you stay away from being as active and trying to get back into it, man. I mean, that's basically when people talk about taking the rust off. I mean, that's basically what they're talking about, right? It's just like getting all that timing and everything ready, not just to be mentally ready, but physically ready, man.
Yeah.
So, man, I mean, I'm going to have to go with you on this one. I mean, the guy is 0-2, but, he's a little bit more fresher, I guess we should say. Mm-hmm. But what you'll see, man, I mean, it's going to be 155 pounds, 35-minute round. So, they'll have 15 minutes to prove us otherwise, man.
Exactly.
Yeah, bro. Okay, going up, man. The main card once again. I mean, of course, it's just going to be at 135 pounds. We have Alan Silva, 5-4, taking on Devin Miller, man. This is going to be a 3 5-minute rounds. Now, Alan Silva, of course, Brazilian, bro. I mean, the guy, he's fought for Fury FC before. He's actually fought in the Amazon regional, promotions out there in Brazil. Coming off a loss, but going into this one, man. I mean. For Fury FC 61 against a tough Devin Miller, man. I mean, what are you thinking on this one?
Man, yeah, I'm looking at and Silva. I mean, he's coming off a loss. Miller's coming off, 2 losses or whatever. But I mean, he has, like I said, both guys have noticeable wins, man. I mean, Devin Miller has a win over CJ Vergara, who's going to be fighting this weekend in Arizona. He's also beaten his teammate Marquis Smith as well, man. When they both made their debuts, and then. I mean, again, man, Devin Miller, his last fight was in February. You go over to Allen. Let's see what his last fight was, man. He's just in March. I mean, guys are both, kind of fresh coming off, man. I think Alan Silva, man, he has a win over Patrick Ferguson, which we've talked to. But that's a noticeable win, man. Patrick Ferguson has a really good wrestling pedigree behind him. Man. He's tough as nails as well, so. I don't know, man. I think with this one, I mean, with Allen being TKO'd in his last fight, in the later rounds, and then, Gianni TKO and Devin Miller with the standing elbow like that.
Yeah,
that both sucks. So you have guys that are coming off losses, but they're also coming off of TKO losses as well.
Oh yeah,
like that, and that's a different type of loss, man. So. But with that, everything being said, man, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna roll with Devin Miller on this. I'm
gonna agree with you for one thing, man, because obviously, I'm sure he knows CJ Vergara's in the UFC, and that in itself's got to be motivation. I mean, he's got to be like, okay, well, I have a win over this guy. I deserve to be up there.
Yeah.
I mean, both guys are as tough as they come. I mean, 135 pounds. Or just in any weight class, man. You can't give the other guy any advantage. So if you make one mistake, man, it's over.
Oh,
yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna give it to Devin Miller. Usually I'm rooting for the Brazilians, man. Of course, Alan Silva has the fighters. As far as being able to win, man, both guys are gonna go in the scrap. But Devin Miller, man, on this one for me.
Okay.
Going up, man. This is gonna be Christopher Quadra 2-2 taking on Eddie Torres, man. Actually, this one, of course, Eddie Torres had a last minute opponent change. 135 pounds, man. I mean, Eddie Torres is just coming off a fight here in San Antonio, man. His last fight. I mean, since he's a father. I mean, they have a newborn, of course. Him and his girl, of course, out there. I mean, congratulations, guys. And having a kid in the fight game, man. I mean, you were there.
Oh yeah.
And did that affect you any, man? Were you thinking, okay, now I got to change diapers and go train? I mean, what was going on, bro?
It makes it a little bit tougher, man. I mean, it does, because you have to balance out, kind of the scheduling and everything like that, kind of train when you can. So I don't know what his status is as far as, working or anything like that. But you imagine, having to work, having to, home life. And then, of course, you got the newborn or baby at the house.
Yeah.
Like all that kind of, like when do you train, right? And then how, like, are you recovering the way you should be? Are you eating the way you should be? There's a lot of things that kind of play into it, man. And I think... that can take an effect on how you train, man.
Yeah, you see, and I mean, obviously, your partner's got to be on the same page, man, because now, they're taking up the other slack. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, now it's like, okay, do I change the baby? Hey, I got to work, or I got to go train. I mean, of course, you change the baby, but I'm just saying, like, it's a little bit more. Yeah, it's a little bit more pressure. Mm-hmm. I mean, going into this bout, man, do you see that affecting him any? I mean, his guy's been training like crazy. Of course, he's out there in Corpus, and coming off a good win, man. So
yeah, man. Maybe I don't know. I think with these guys, man, both Eddie and Chris, man. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but they both fought in the amateur rank. So yeah. I mean, and Eddie, won that fight. Looked like it went to a decision. So, but I don't know, man. I think it is gonna take a little bit of a toll, but I don't think it's gonna be that much of a factor, man. I think Eddie still comes out victorious, man, on this fight. He was already gonna, like I said, he had opponent change or whatever. So I think he's ready for whatever gets thrown at him at this point.
Yeah, you see, and like you mentioned, the fact that he actually, I mean, lost to Eddie in the amateur ranks, man. I mean, he's gonna want redemption, of course. Now, you know, like we mentioned earlier, in the amateur ranks, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Experience does, but when it comes to the record, you know, you're a pro, you start overs, right? But I mean, you think he wants to kind of seal the deal and get that win back?
Oh yeah, dude. Anytime you lose somebody, yeah, you want to get that back, man. It's always a thing of, trying to avenge that loss, and you wanted to get erased, man. And maybe it was an off night for him. Maybe it was what other circumstances might have been around it. But at the end of the night, I mean, the guy lost to him, and so now he gets a chance to take that O back,
redeem himself.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's always a big thing because not a lot of guys get to do that.
Right.
I mean, hell, this could be another fight where, man, I lost to him in the amateurs and I lost to him in the pros. Like, like that sucks. But, I mean, hopefully.
No, yeah. I mean, like I said, I'll be watching him, and of course, it's going to be on the UFC Fight Pass, so I'll be watching along. It's going to be the Sunday in Edinburgh, Texas, of course, like I mentioned. And moving up, man, main card, once again, 155 pounds. F. Castro, and I don't mean F. Castro in that sense. That's his initial. But he's taking on Darren Whitney, man, 3-0. Now, pro ranks, of course, Whitney coming out of by way of Louisiana, man. But Castro, I mean, the guy, obviously, man. I mean, he's got experience in the amateur ranks. It's just not the good experience, bro. I mean, we talked about this earlier. Coincidentally, the guy's had a huge losing streak, and this is something. I mean, it's all been in boxing, bro. So I mean, for Fury FC, of course, amateur. I'm sorry, pro debut. What are you thinking, man? Are you thinking, okay, he's gonna come, redeem himself, redeem his record, or what's your take on this one?
I don't know, man. I mean, like I said, you got Castro here. He's a boxer, and he's switching over to MMA. I mean, he was 28-13 as a boxer, which is a good record, but. Can he transition over? Has he done the groundwork? Has he, does he know how to stay up on his feet now? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, did he change his stance? Like, there's so many things that go into that transition, going from boxing to MMA and stuff. Like, his hands are going to be there. You're going to take off these 12-ounce gloves and you're going to put 4-ounce gloves on them, and so that's always a plus. But at the same time, you have Darren who can submit you, and who's been training specifically MMA a lot longer than what. Francisco has. I don't think the crowd's going to get to Francisco. I don't think, the nerves or anything like that. Fighting is something a fight's a fight to an extent. But at the end of the day, does he have the skill set to keep up with Darren? Because I think Darren's a blue belt. A blue belt can really fuck up a lot of people. That don't train or whatever.
No, man. I mean, definitely he's experienced. As a grappler, and I mean. I like it because it's that it's going to be a fight. I mean, they have a striker versus a grappler, basically, man. I mean, not to say, Darren Whitney, of course, it doesn't have experience in striking. I mean, the guy's on a win streak right now. I mean, 3-0. It doesn't look good for his opponent, man.
Nah, it doesn't, man. So I mean, I don't know if this was something to kind of just fill the card, or if this was something to kind of, get him out there, or if he really does just want to transition, maybe. And that's the thing. If he fought pro as a boxer, he can't do an amateur MMA fight. So
no, yeah, you got no other choice but to go pro. And
yeah, so I mean, once you go professional in one combat sport, I mean, any combat sport now, you're professional. You can't go back to pros, or I'm sorry, you can't go back to amateur. So that's probably why this is being set up. Maybe there should have been a different guy.
Yeah.
To go.
Oh yeah, because.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, it doesn't look good for Francisco.
No, yeah, we'll see, man. I mean, like I said, the guy is experienced as a professional boxer. I mean, I don't know if it makes a difference, but I don't know if he had like it was a 4-round, 8-round, or 12-round bouts. I mean, the guy, they have that option as pros. But yeah, man, we'll see, man. I mean, of course, it's it's already set in stone, so of course it's going to happen. Man, we're going to go up. This is going to be on the main card once again. Of course, we have Evan Cutts, 13-5. Taking on Chris Pacetto, man. I mean, that was another card change. Of course, it's been like 2-3 weeks out. But both guys have been training hard. I've been trying to get a hold of Chris Pacetto, man. Just timing as far as the interview. But it's 5 weeks, so I'll be leaving the guys alone, of course. But it's going to be a good card, man. I mean, Evan Cutts, of course, is coming up for victory for Fury FC. And the guy's a submission specialist, man. The black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I mean, he's fought, like, man, all over the place, man. He's a, Rock's Extreme MMA. He's fought, actually lost to Colton Smith, but that was a good bout. Yeah. Going up the ranks, I mean, regional-wise experience, he had to win over Hayward Charles. it's Chris Paceto, man. I mean, the guy's been fighting for years. He's got tough losses against UFC fighters. Alex Hernandez, of course, being one of them. Jamal Lammers being another, and he went back to XKO, went from 155 to 170, and the last time I heard, he was going to go back to 155. Man, I guess this fight they offered him this fight at 170. He's going to stay at 170. I mean, what are you thinking on this, man?
Maybe probably not the best choice for Paceto, man. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I mean, if you draw the line at, hey, man, I'm going to fight at 170, or I'm sorry, if I'm going to go back to 155 and then you get offered a fight and it's just like, it's at 170, it's all these different things. I mean, I don't think he should have, I know you want to probably fight close to home,
right?
But at the same time, man, I don't think you should have, taken away what your stipulations were. I mean, you know what I'm saying? If you say you're going to fight at 55, fight at 55. You know what I'm saying? And they can find you an opponent. You know what I'm saying? Because you're probably going to sell tickets. You're probably going to have a good following, a showing, or whatever. So, set your standard and then keep it there. Don't worry too much about, anything else. But I think it's a bad move personally, man. Evan Cutts, like I said, man, he's fought a lot of guys, got a lot of experience, and both guys do. But with that, man, I think with everything kind of falling the way it is, even with Paceto coming off a loss, I'm going with Cutts, man.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna have to reach. He's gonna have. I mean, if it goes to the ground, it's gonna be a dangerous spot for Paceto, man. I will say this, though, man. Paceto. I mean, I've been watching the guy for years. I mean, of course, he's regional. He's from here in Texas. I mean, coming off the ranks through his old gym, in Corpus, man. I mean, he was explosive, man. He was a big fan of Sakuraba, man, and because of that, I always saw him as that Sakuraba type fighter where he would fight and he would make a fight his, you know what I mean? In bad spots, he's still striking. In bad spots, he's still going for submissions. I mean, he was always in and out. And it's just, I don't know if we'll be able to do that with Evan Cutts, man. I mean, Evan Cutts, like we said, he's a black belt in BJJ. It's going to be a great fight. I mean, we have to pull for it, man. I mean, if Evan Cutts takes him down early, man, I think it's going to be an early night, an early submission victory. If, Paceto can weather the storm and get inside, you see, and even then that's going to be dangerous because, if he takes down Evan Cutts, man, I mean, he's got that opportunity to maybe cut him, strike him, maybe sink a submission. I don't know. I mean, that's going to be wild. But yeah, man, it's going to be, I've always been the underdog, man. I put Chris Paceto as an underdog, and I'd say that with all the respect because, he's going to come out to fight, man. It's just going to be one of those fights that if he gets this win, it'll definitely catapult him a little bit more, and that's what he needs. I mean, the guy's, he's had a losing streak and wants to get back into it, man. So yeah, I'm going to pull for Chris Paceto and see where it goes, man. Definitely.
No, yeah, it's it'll be an interesting fight, man. Really quick, fast paced, man. At 170.
Yes, sir. Now going up, bro, we got a main card. This is actually going to be the co-main event. We have Peter Caballero, of course, another fighter from Corpus, 9-5, taking on Sam Guardiola. Now, Sam Guardiola, I've actually heard about for years, man. The guy, I mean, STFC fighter. I fought all over the place as far as McAllen. I mean, he, huge win streak, man. The guy, the last time he fought was in 2016. That's where the question lies, because now, I mean, we talked about the being lackluster, not being as active. I mean, not to say the guy hasn't been at the gym. I mean, maybe he's been getting other fighters ready. But, I mean, how would you stack that against a Peter Caballero who's been busy? I mean, he's coming off a loss, but the guy stayed busy, man. I mean, the guy's active. He's had a couple fights fall off, and he's definitely on his way up, man. So what are you thinking?
Yeah, man. With Peter, being on his way up, I mean, if he can get a win over Sam, I mean, that, puts him at 10-5. That puts him in a good spot to possibly get looked at, in the UFC. Maybe, not, some like early prelims, on that type of level. I know he has a good management team behind him. But again, he's going to be a guy who's going to have a big following there in South Texas, being from Corpus. Yeah, I mean, I think Sam is like the perfect opponent for him. Sam has a good record. He's 7-1. Hasn't been as active. Like I said, he's probably been training. He's probably been doing his thing. Of course, I mean, I think anytime you take a fight, I mean, hopefully you have been training for at least a good minute. But I mean, I think this is going to be the perfect fight for Peter to come out and get a victory win over him. I don't know how he would do it. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be by finish, submission, or whatever. Personally, I'll probably think it's if I had to lean towards one, it's probably going to be decision. But you got, Sam, who's, like I said, 7-1, hasn't been active. This probably wouldn't have been the fight I would have gotten for myself if I'm Sam. I probably would have picked maybe something a little bit, not easier, but I would, probably a little bit more on my level. Maybe somebody who hasn't been as active as I am. Right now, it does look like that Sam is a stepping stone for Peter.
No, yeah, I mean, and it's tough, dude, because even Sam, I mean, most of his wins were pretty much all his wins have been via submission. Mm-hmm. I mean, Peter Caballero, of course, the guy trains out of Gracie Baja. I mean, he trains with weapons at hand. His striking, Roger Narvaez. I mean, there's a lot of talent out there, man. So because of that, I don't see it going to the ground. I don't know. I see it as stand-up war, and that's what's going to make it interesting, man. I mean, Peter Caballero, I mean, I'll go that route only because of experience, only because he's been the fresher guy. He's been in and out. As an amateur, he was fighting good, man. I mean, I liked his fights because he was explosive. When he went into the pro circuit, you kind of noticed his technique get a little tighter, so it was a little bit more methodical, I want to say. But yeah, man. I mean, if I'll say this, if Sam Guardiola, man, gets a win, that's going to be huge.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's going to definitely put him out there, man. And like you said, if Peter Caballero gets that win, man, it's gonna look good on his resume because now he's he puts that loss on an undefeated fighter, man. I mean, Sam hasn't been in for a while, but it's still gonna look good, man. So yeah, the co-main event, of course, is gonna be for Fury FC in Edinburgh, Texas, Fury FC 61, and we're going to the main card, man. Oh, and for my pick, man, I'm gonna go with Peter Caballero, of course. So we're going to the main card. This is Anthony Canzano taking on Nate Smith. Now, Canzano 6-1, taking on a 6-3 opponent. They both look good, man. At 135, I mean, this is a great weight division. Canzano, of course, man, he's a 3-fight win streak, nicknamed Fat Tony. As a fat guy, I'm offended by that, but you know what? I'm going to let that one slide. The guy trains out of Sanford MMA, which is a pretty damn good gym. And taking on Nate Smith, man, 6-3. I mean, when you look at a fight like this, I mean, of course, we talked about it's a lighter weight class, 135, so a lot of speed, man, a lot of technique, a lot of explosiveness, a lot of, I mean, what are you thinking, man? What are you thinking on this one?
Man, like I said, sneaky submissions, quick guys. Looking at the two fighters, man, I mean, Nate Smith, he is on a 3-fight losing streak or whatever, but again, man, it's looking at those opponents, he lost to Paris. He lost to I don't know the second guy as far as like his name, being around the circuit, and then he also lost to
Jimmy the Brick Flick. Huh?
Yeah, Jimmy Flick, man, who does a little spot with you as well, yeah. Right? So and then again going back to Anthony, man, I mean he has a 3-fight winning streak, so complete opposite of that. But I mean, it's kind of here and there, 2-1, 4-2, 5-3 opponents, so. If you had to go like a strength schedule, right? If you had to go based off of opponent, Nate Smith to me, I mean I think he'd still be the favorite. Even though he's ranked a little bit lower. Anthony's number 3, Nate's number 6. It's going to be a tough fight. It's going to be a good fight. But I'm looking at the durability of Nate against the fact that he has fought tougher opponents. The 3-fight win losing streak, I don't think that's going to affect him as much. But I think the skill set wise, it might be a little bit different when he actually fights Canzano. So
for sure, man.
Like I said, man, yeah, 6-1 versus 6-3, number 6 versus number 3. It's gonna be a tough fight, man. But I mean, I don't know, man. Like I said, Anthony Canzano, man, he's finishing his fights, so you don't know what it's gonna happen at this type of level. But
right.
Like I said, man, if I had to make my pick, I'm gonna go ahead and run with Nate Smith.
Are you really?
Yeah.
You see, I would agree with you, man, but I want to argue a little bit. But yeah, man, I mean, Nate Smith, no slouch. I mean, the guy has fought a lot of tough dudes, man. Anthony Canzano, I mean, this is the main event card. Because of that alone, dude, I see, I mean, he's going to see this obviously as a stepping stone because, Nate Smith fought for the Dana White Contender Series, and anytime you fight in the UFC or get mentioned by them, that's gold. I mean, that's something good to get on your record or on your win column. But yeah, man, I'm going to go with that Anthony Canzano, man. I mean, it's going to be an interesting bout. I mean, like you said, it's going to be, number 3 versus number 6. Mm-hmm. And, main card, man, I mean, that's, both guys better bring it, man, because, everybody's going to be watching. And at 135 pounds, dude, I mean, that's a good card to get picked up on and maybe even go into the UFC or Dana White Contender Series, man.
Yeah.
But
definitely, man. Like I said, the card looks good from bottom to top, man. Everybody looks got a lot of South Texas guys there. You got a couple of guys from out of state, New Mexico and New York, which that surprised me, man. That they're getting.
They're making them fly all the way out. The guys.
Which I think with so many different venues popping up, or promotions popping up, man. I mean, I guess that's what we're gonna have to do, right?
I mean, Fury, like you said, man, they're like back to back, dude. I think after this one, they're going to Colorado, and then they're going back to the San Antonio, and even California later this year, man. So definitely, Fury FC 61. This was the card going down this Sunday, of course, in Edinburgh, Texas, at the Burt Ogden Arena. Now, I won't be able to go out there, man, but I will be watching through UFC Fight Pass. And, that's it for this card. For everybody out there, of course, Aaron Suarez, as always, thank you, bro. Everybody else out there following up, make sure to chime in, let us know. Agree, disagree. Thank you for everything, all the support, man. Until next time, follow up.